गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः दिगंबरा मध्यमत्वं दिगंबरा मध्यमत्वं आहुरापादमस्तकं चैतन्यव्याप्तिसंदृष्टेः अनखाग्रश्रुतेरपि. So here the medium, some people think that the atom is like the Atma is like an atom, very fine, subtler than the subtlest. Some others say that it is medium sized, and here they say, that is this verse, the Digambaras of the Jain sect believe that the Atma is of the size of the body because the consciousness is seen to occupy the total body from the toe to the top. They also refer to the scriptural authority to prove their point. Everyone is using the scriptural authority, but whatever they want, not the previous verses, not the afterwards, one verse which supports their point. And here he says the Digambara sect of Jains argue that the consciousness is seen to occupy the body from the toe to the top, hence it is of the medium size of the shape of the body. Further, they quote the scriptures Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Katho Upanishad or not Katho, some other Upanishad, to support their arguments that the Atma is of the shape and size of the body. A possible doubt about the above view, that if Atma is of the shape and size of the body, it cannot enter the capillaries, etc., is taken for answering by the Digambaras. Now, what are the Digambaras doing? The previous was also the Jain sect, the one who believes that Atma is of the atomic size. They are also Jains. These Digambaras are also Jains. And within the Jains, one sect is counteracting the other one. Like before, in Charvakas also same thing. Someone was taking the body to be the Atma, then another part of some people in that group, they were saying that the senses are the Atma, and yet another person, school in that sect, Charvaka sect, they said breath is the Atma, and this way it goes on. So Vedantins don't have to do anything. Everyone has worked out between themselves who is not. And all the others are negated by the Buddhists. The Charvakas, the Jains, etc. are all negated. So the Vedantins, they have to only deal with the Buddhists, meaning nihilist philosophy. But anyway, Sukshma Nadi Pracharastu Sukshmair Bhavet Sthula Dehasya Hastabhyam Kanchuka Pratimokavata. The entry of the arms in the sleeves of a shirt are considered to be entry of the body. Similarly, the entry of the Atma in the capillaries is secondary to indicate the pervasiveness of the Atma in the whole gross body. So, comparison is made. As the arms of the body enter the sleeves of a shirt or a coat, in the same way, Atma enters the body by becoming of the size of capillaries and thus pervades the gross body. through these capillaries. Here the entry in the capillary is secondary, while the entrance in the gross body as a whole is primary. Therefore, the Atma can be of the size and shape of the gross body, say the Madhyamikas. And we are wasting time, but when the text is showing that, we have to address it. Yet another possible doubt about accepting the Atma to be of the size of the body is raised and answered. Nyunadhika sharireshu praveshopi gamagamaihi pravishepi gamagamaihi atmashanam bhavettena madhyamatvam vinishchitam. As Atma can enter even smaller parts of the body, therefore it can certainly have entry into any body size. Therefore the Atma is of the size of a body. What logic it is. Therefore it is finally and firmly concluded that Atma is of the size and shape of the body. Twisted logic. The difficulty in accepting the Atma to be of the shape and size of the body, etc., is taken for consideration and later to refute it. Refute means to deny that conclusion. Sanshayasya ghatavan. Sanshayasya ghatavanasho bhavatyeva tatha sati krutanasha krutabhyagam ayoko varako bhavet. Actually, कृतानाशा कृताभ्या को वारको भवे को वारको. ठीक है, wrong place we cut it. If Atma is considered to be of the shape and size of the body, it is certain to die. If the body dies, the Atma will die. As a pot with a form is destroyed, in that case, how can we remove the fallacy that there will be no one to receive the results of karma? Nor can we justify the present events in life. So here the teacher is, if the Atman is considered to be of the same size and shape of the body which is the subject to destruction, the Atma also must die. That will be the conclusion. And if we accept the death of the Atma along with the body, there arises two logical fallacies. One is kritanashaha, meaning the good and bad actions will not have any results to come. There is no one to receive it afterwards. Here we are talking of Jivatma. We are not talking about the infinite, the self-effulgent Atma. We are talking about Jivatma here. And akrutabhya gamayoho, meaning the present placement of an individual cannot be attributed to the actions performed by him in the earlier life. So we all believe at the relative level that this life is because of the prarabdha karma, isn't it? Now, if there is no one to accept the results of the actions that you are performing in this life, meaning if body dies, Atma dies, then how will the next birth come about? Question to be asked. In other words, the very law of karma will not be valid and the whole creation will be considered as a possible chaotic existence, which it is not. Creation is perfect order. Everything is just right. Therefore, the Atma cannot be accepted to be with parts or forms as postulated by the Digambaras. The above discussion leads ultimately to the following conclusion. Now, our Vedantic, what do we say about it? Tasmad Atma Mahaneva Naivanurnapi Madhyamaha Akashavat Sarvagato Niransha Shruti Sammataha. Therefore, the Atma is neither the size of an atom nor it is the size of the body, but it is infinite like space. Hence, all pervading and therefore without parts. Space has got no parts. You may divide the space as the 8 or 10 directions. North, south, east, west, northeast, north, south, southeast, northwest, southwest, top, bottom. But you go into space, away from the earth, where is north, south, east, west? It's only with reference to the earth that we divide the space into these directions for our usefulness. But space itself has got no directions. It is directionless. It just is. And therefore, without parts, this view about the Atma is acceptable to the scriptures, that Atma is also without parts. It is without any avayava. Avayava means parts. This body has avayava. Hands, legs, the head, etc. These are parts. The Atma is like the space without any parts or a particular shape, and this conclusion is in line with the declaration of the scriptures. So far, the all-pervasive nature of the Atma is established by refuting the Charvaka philosophy, the various aspects of the Jain philosophy, which is the Anuvad, and the various schools of thoughts within the Buddhist philosophy, which also propagate the Shunyavad and Kshanikavad. So all different standpoints have been dealt with. So far, all pervasive nature of the Atma is established. In other words, Atma is the common single substratum of all. The same Atma is of the nature of consciousness is now taken up for discussion. First of all, the different views are enumerated. So now we have concluded that there is a, see how systematically the Panchadashi is taking us, Vidyaranya Swami. Unless you don't allow these different arguments to hijack your mind, you will not focus on what is going to be told. So first understand, these are the fallacies. These are the different standpoints of different schools of thought, so that we don't go in that direction. Now we have accepted that Atma is the substratum. Now what is this Atma? That it is of the nature of consciousness, and how it is of the nature of consciousness, or what is the meaning of consciousness, all that will be discussed. Ityuktva tad visheshetu bahudha kalaham yayuhu achid rupota chid rupaha chid rupa ityapi. After having concluded that the Atma is infinite like space, there are further many views and arguments about the Atma, such as it is inert, it is conscious, and it is a mixture of both inertness and consciousness. We never have thought of these points. But he is making us think so that we don't come to the wrong conclusion. Thus, having concluded about all the pervasive nature of the Atma, one finds a lot of controversy among different schools of thought. What is that controversy? Some of them talk of Atma to be inert, some claim it to be conscious, yet still others proclaim to be a mixture of inertness and consciousness, and some believe it is one per person. Sankhya mein wohi belief hai. So, having enumerated them, each of them is taken for consideration and analysis. Prabhakarastarkikascha prahurasya chidatmatam akashavadravyamatma shabdavattad gunashchitihi. The followers of Prabhakara, and we haven't even heard of Prabhakaras. So, but these are the various schools. The followers of Prabhakara and the logicians declare that the Atma is inert. They say that Atma is inert like space and the consciousness is its quality, like the sound is that of the space. And further they add, Atma is a substance like space and consciousness is an attribute of this Atma as the sound is the quality of the space. In addition to this, there are some attributes of the Atma. They are Ichcha Dvesha Prayatnascha, Ichcha Dvesha Prayatnascha, Dharma Dharmau Sukha Sukhe, Dharma Dharmau Sukha Sukhe, Tat Sanskarashcha Tasyaite, Tat Sanskarashcha Tasyaite, Guna क्या है गुणाश्चितेव धीरिताः गुणाश्चितेव धीरिताः. The desire, hatred, efforts, righteous and sinful life, joys and sorrows, and their impressions on the mind, etc., are the qualities of the Atma, just as the consciousness is its quality. You agree? You agree or you don't agree? I'll repeat. The desire, hatred, efforts, righteousness, sinful life, joys, sorrows, and their impressions on the mind, etc., are the qualities of the Atma. You don't agree? Okay. They believe. But do you live like that? Intellectually you are agreeing. But do you live like that?
Atma doesn't think.
But you are Atma. Do you think? Do you take ownership? Do you say I have to do things? Do you say I am hot and cold, I am hungry and thirsty? Do you feel sad? Do you feel elated? You have lost the plot. So, be very careful. That's why I asked, do you agree or you don't agree? So you are intellectually you are appreciating what Atma is, but you are not taking Atma to be the subjective self. You are not taking it to be then you will be immune to all these hunger, thirst, heat, cold, joy, sorrows, everything, likes, dislike, nothing will touch you. Then don't come back and say, but then what is the point of living life? Atma doesn't live life. Atma is infinitely present. It doesn't. If you say, what is the point of living life? Then your attention is on Jivatma, which comes and goes, which is a ghost. See, this fine dissection we are doing here. So the attributes like desire or for the conducive object, disliking for the non-conducive objects, the merit and sins of earlier actions, the joys and sorrows as a result of the experiences and their impressions, etc. These and the like are the attributes of Atma, just as the consciousness is an attribute of Atma. So these people argue. My question was not about argument, my question was how you are you accepting this or are you not? If you are accepting means you may be not accepting it, but you are living it. If you are living it, somewhere inside we have accepted we are the Jivatma. So we celebrate birthdays, so we celebrate, we grieve for the death. Because our conviction is not there that we are the eternal one, that Atma is the eternal one. It's only the appearance and disappearance of phenomena called the body. See, इसके लिए बहुत you have to really drink this, what you call, or imbibe this within yourself. And so these people say, just like consciousness is a quality of the Atma, is an attribute of Atma, like that all this, whatever the list was told, that is also like they are the attributes, consciousness is also an attribute. And when we read study the Amrit Anubhav, what did Jnaneshwar Maharaj says? Satchit Anand is an abuse to the self. Even the word self is an abuse to that Paramatma, the infinite that you are, Paramashiva that you are. Why? Self. The moment self comes, there is not self. The moment Sat comes, there is Asat. The moment Chit comes, there is Achit. The moment Anand comes, there is Dukkham. So, anything you utter, it will have an opposite. Now, I'm telling you something which you may know or you may not know. Therefore, keeping this in mind, if not today's Buddhists, our Siddharth, who attained Nirvana, when he talks about Shunya, he says Shunya means that it cannot be talked about. Shunya means the truth cannot be talked about. You know, we use the word Atma, immediately we use the word Anatma also. We have to go beyond both. But leave that for the rest of the text. Atmano manasa yoge swadrushta vashato gunaha jayante tha praliyante sushupte drushta sankshayat. These qualities are manifested in the Atma as a result of earlier actions in association with the mind, and these qualities become unmanifest when the results of earlier actions are exhausted and in deep sleep. So, self-explanatory. Why each one of you is born with certain attributes? Where did they come from? Why naturally, for no reason, you enjoy, some people enjoy winter, some people enjoy summer, some people enjoy banana, another person enjoys that kaunsa wo Malaysian fruit, kaunsa kadwa marambulan or something like that. See? Some person enjoys Karela, some person enjoys Karela, other person hates Karela. What's the reason? There's no reason. They're just like that. All this is coming from previous, and that's what is told. And when the person dies, all these whatever has been worked out, that is released. But whatever is left over, some scars are left over, they continue to go with because the consciousness identified Atma as if identified, very important, as if identified with the mind is called the soul. You remember, consciousness identified with mind, meaning memories, is called soul. Those memories are now instrumental in giving him a new body because they need to release themselves. They can only release themselves through a form. They cannot in the mind they cannot get released. Your manifestation has to be there. See? And mind cannot function. Mind cannot function if there is no body. Can you have a mind without body? No. Body can be physical or subtle, but it has to be there. A ghost also has a body. See? The yakshas also have a body. All the 14 lokas, their body is there. All the way to Brahmaji, the body is there. So, expatiation of all your samskaras, that is what the human birth is for, to release all the samskaras. And if you don't get in between, it will work out very fast. But because we take charge, we take ownership of the body, we get identified with the body, we start creating new samskaras, new data bank. And that becomes the reason for the next life. And we see this expatiation of all the samskaras temporarily in the deep sleep also and at the time of death also. But then there is next life, and then there is waking up next day also after sleep. So it continues. Thereafter, when these effects of the earlier actions are exhausted, as in deep sleep state, the qualities of the Atma disappear. They are saying that if the Atma is achit or inert, how can the consciousness be accepted as the manifestation of the Atma? They are saying, these people are saying, the Atma is inert. What is the quality of inert? It comes and goes. They are taking, if they don't understand, but they are thinking Jivatma is the inert. They are taking Jivatma as the Atma. Therefore, they are talking about coming and going. Therefore, they are talking about inertness. Therefore, they are talking about qualities and attributes. This is not given in the text, I am adding to it. Chitimatvat chetanoyam Chitimatvat chetanoyam Ichha dvesha prayatnavan Syadharma dharma yo karta Bhokta dukkadimatvataha. Although inert, they are arguing that although inert, it manifests as sentient due to its quality of consciousness. Further, this Atma, a doer of righteousness and unrighteous acts in association with its qualities like desire, hatred, effort, etc., is also the experiencer, being in association with sorrows, etc. So, what they are talking basically is about about us. We are joyful, we are sorrowful, we get angry. Who is? Is it the Atma which is getting angry? Oh, it is the Jivatma which is getting angry. You will say that, isn't it? But look for the Jivatma. Inquire into Jivatma. Is there a Jivatma? There is nothing called Jivatma. That is why before this all discussion began of different schools of thought, remember we were talking about Aham Vritti and Idam Vritti yesterday, first class and the last class of the last retreat. Without all this clarity, you go and jump into Bhagavad Gita or Upanishads. Imagine what you will not understand anything. Atma is not conscious but is inert. Because it comes in contact with the mind, it starts manifesting as if it is conscious. Mind is conscious, Atma is inert. Look at the conclusion. Because it comes in contact with mind, it becomes conscious. The Atma is with qualities such as desire, hatred. There it expresses as if it is not inert. As if. He is the doer of the good and bad deeds referred as righteous and unrighteous acts. Therefore, Atma is the doer. Again, wrong conclusion. Being associated with sorrow, etc., the Atma is the experiencer. Because of this consciousness, the Atma acquires qualities like dharma, adharma, karta, bhokta, dukkha, etc. Thus, according to the Prabhakaras, Atma is dravya. Atma is a material. Like Prithvi, earth is a material. Water is a material. So, space, air, fire, water, earth, they are all material. Space, when we take it as ether, it is a material. Same way they are saying Atma is also a dravya, that is a material. Therefore it is inert. Therefore inert. But the consciousness or jnanam is its quality along with desire, etc. Then enjoying and suffering, etc. follows. In the Vedanta Shastra, all these are taken as prakriya, not the reality. Prakriya is the method by which earlier thought is nullified by a counter thought, which is also rejected eventually. In this way, it is proved that kutastha is the reality and ahanta is kalpita, superimposed, not real. Ahanta, the I-ness, that is not real. So what do we do in Vedanta? We superimpose to desuperimpose. We superimpose to desuperimpose. We say something, and with that we deny what was our default, and then both of them vanish. For example, very simple example, very gross example, that you are pricked with a thorn, you pick up another thorn, remove that thorn and throw both of them away. You don't fall in love with the thorn which removed the thorn which had pricked. No, this is very helpful. I will use it in the next. If next time I get a thorn prick, I will use this again. And you carry it in your pocket, and it's pricking you all the time. ये नहीं करना है. Now the movement of the Atma from one body to another is expounded in the next shloka. This is a common belief that Atma moves from one body to the other. In Vedanta, we accept it only to deny it. Initially we accept, till Sankhya Shastra we accept. After that, as we come closer to our own essential nature, all this is shift deleted. But why it is accepted? Because to explain the world, you need some formula. This is the formula in the relative. यथात्र कर्मवशतः कदाचित्कं सुखादिकं तथा लोकांतरे देहे कर्मणेच्छादिजन्यते. Just as in this body the joys etc. are experienced due to the compulsion of other actions, earlier actions, so also in the other world, place of experiences, that is the different lokas, due to the karmas of this life, the desire etc. are created in the other bodies occupied by this Atma. And in this way, according to the karma, the Atma has the freedom to go to different lokas, enter other bodies, and again experience desires, dislikes, etc. Thus, Kartritva is the main criteria for the Atma, they say. Because their attention is only on the coming and going. So why is this happening? And there are enough examples in the relative. People from past life, in this life they are remembering their past lives. They can foresee what is happening in the future. So many examples are there for them to say that what we are saying is correct. What is the authority for the statement that Atma is Kartrutva Abhimani? So now see whom do we say is Kartrutva Abhimani? Who is having the arrogance of doership and enjoyership? Kartrutva Abhimani is doership and enjoyership. Who is the one? Jiva. Now they are totally confused. If you are noticing, all their arguments is accepting Atma to be the Jiva or Jiva to be the Atma. And this you see in common parlance also. Many places we go. Most of the people, they call the Jivatma as the Atma. Arey yaar, Atma chhod ke chali gayi. The Atma has left the body. This is what we say. We don't say Jivatma has left the body. When someone dies, we say Atma has left the body. Wrong conclusion. Atma doesn't come, Atma doesn't go. But that has become our norm. It's a default setting. And that, with that default setting, then these type of the Anuvad and the Kshanikavad and the Shunyavad or the Prabhakaras or the Nyayikas, they all come up. Because the mainstay is this. They are taking the Jivatma to be the Atma. They have not learned to distinguish that Atma and Jivatma are. You cannot say Atma and Jivatma are separate. I was going to say that again. Default setting. Atma alone is. Jivatma appears but actually is not there. So they say, Did we read this? No. What is the authority for the statement that Atma is Kartrutva Abhimani? Evam cha swargasyapi, evam cha swargasyapi, sambhavetam gamagamau, bhavetam gamagamau, karmakanda samagrotra, कर्मकांड समग्रोत्र प्रमाणमिति ते वदन् प्रमाणमिति ते वदन्. In this way, the all-pervading Atma can also be subjected to transmigration. In this context, the total karma kanda is the authority. Thus declare the Prabhakaras and the logicians. They say, although the Atma is all-pervading, it goes from one body to the other, one loka to another, because the karma, Atma is kartrutva bhoktrutva rupam. It is the doer and the enjoyer. Kartrutva means the doer, bhoktrutva means the enjoyer. Here the whole karma kanda is the pramanam. And why they take karma kanda as the pramanam, you know? You know why they take karma kanda as the pramana, as the basis to come to this conclusion? Because the 70% of the Vedas is karma kanda. 25-27% of the Vedas is upasana kanda. And only 2-3% of the Vedas is Upanishads. And therefore, if it was so important, if Atma was important and Upanishad was important, why 70% of Vedas is karma kanda? Therefore, karma kanda is more important. Twisted logic. And therefore, in this manner, the Prabhakaras and the Nyayikas say the concept of Jivatva is a reality. They consider the conditioned and limited consciousness as the reality. So they are taking the soul or the Jivatma as the reality and putting all their arguments around it. So Jivatma is angry, Jivatma is sleeping, Jivatma is the waker, Jivatma is the dreamer, Jivatma is attached to the body, Jivatma leaves this body, Jivatma takes another body, and they say that is the Atma. This whole problem of karma kand or this type of thinking, again I am telling, it's only because the seeker or the contemplator or the thinker is objective in his approach. Right now you're objectively listening. But words are the carriers of information. But are you still thinking of Atma as a concept? Or are you right now, while you are listening, you are applying it to yourself, that this Atma I am, this Jivatma also I am. This is the distinction. There is one behind, the one who knows. So you have to be subjective. Nobody else can help you do that. The Vedantins also accept the Jivatma concept, but only as a concept. Jivatma is only as a concept. And with that Jivatma comes the Kartrutva Abhiman, Bhoktrutva Abhiman, doership and enjoyership, birth and rebirth, the cycle of creation, everything. Again, it is a concept. It is not the reality. Reality can only be one. And what is that? Atma. Accept that about yourself. As a concept, only as a step in the inquiry process to achieve the highest. And what is the highest? That Aham Brahmasmi is the highest. In that, all these steps, the Panchakoshas, the Panchapranas, the Antahkaran, the Aham Vritti, the Idam Vritti, all this, the various yogas, whatever, all these are just stepping stones to understand that this is how it is. But our goal is the Atma Tattva, and our goal is that which does not come and which does not go. that which is not born, that which does not die, that which cannot be known through any other means of knowledge. Why? It is self-knowing. And we forget that. We all know that we are self-knowing. You don't have to think to be. But this Western civilization has brainwashed us. I think, therefore I am. You heard that statement? The truth is, I am, therefore thinking happens. I think, therefore I am. No. That is the foolish man's, stupid man's cry. Conclusion. I am, therefore thinking happens. Because Atma is there, therefore phenomena is there. From relative standpoint. From Atma's standpoint of view, there is no phenomena anyway, anything. To them, going to Swarga, etc. is unimportant. For whom? To the Vedantis, for the student of Vedanta, going to Swarga is equal to zero. The goal is the absolute on which hell, heaven, etc. are superimposed. We are only interested in Brahman. We are only interested in the infinite. And on that, this entire creation with the 14 lokas, birth, death, transmigration, kartrutva abhiman, bhoktutva abhiman, the shad urmis and the shad vikaras, everything, that whatever you can talk about is creation. All that is superimposed on that Atma, which is unchanging. And that I am. That I am. So Prabhakaras don't believe. They say, no. Transmigration is the truth. Jivatma is the truth. Continuing the explanation of the Prabhakaras' point of view, Anandamaya kosho yaha, Anandamaya kosho yaha, Sushuptau parishishyate, Sushuptau parishishyate, Aspashta chitsa atmaisham, Aspashta chitsa atmaisham, Purva koshosyate gunaha, Purva koshosyate gunaha. The Anandmaya Kosha, the bliss sheath, which is indistinct manifestation of consciousness, is the first kosha among the 5 koshas of the Atma. This Anandmaya Kosha is considered as Atma by the Prabhakaras and the logicians. So, similar conclusion to the Bauddhas. Anandmaya Kosha is bliss. Bliss is possible when there are no eruptions of reference, no thoughts possible. There alone bliss is. So they are also coming to the same conclusion as the Anandmaya Kosha is considered as Atma by the Prabhakaras and the logicians. These qualities like doer, enjoyer, etc. belong to this Anandmaya Kosha, they say. And yes, in Sankhya also, when we begin in Vedanta, we first follow this process, only to deny it or delete it. So we say yes, Anandmaya Kosha is the cause and the Manomaya Kosha is the effect. Manomaya Kosha is the cause and the Annamaya Kosha is the effect. Senses and the Annamaya Kosha is the effect. For some time it is good, only to be cancelled afterwards. How can nothing be the cause of something? This we don't. Just because Anandmaya Kosha is there, we say that is the cause. Because it is the subtlest of the subtlest. In the deep sleep state, the Chaitanya is not fully manifest. This is the first of the 5 koshas. The Anandmaya Kosha is considered to be the Atma by the Prabhakaras and therefore is considered to be inert. And because they are taking Anandmaya Kosha to be the Atma, Anandmaya Kosha comes and goes, deep sleep comes and goes, whatever comes and goes is inert, so they think Atma is inert. Twisted logic. But all the gunas, sukha dukkha, are not the attributes of the Atma, but of the bliss sheath alone, which is taken to be Atma. So they are not taking all these vikaras of the Atma but they are they are themselves not understanding. When you say they take all the vikaras, joy, sorrows, etc., to be that of Anandmaya Kosha and not of Atma. And in the next sentence they say, but Anandmaya Kosha is the Atma. What do you make out of that statement? Contradictory again. Now the view held by the followers of the great Karmakandi, Kumarila Bhatta, about the Atma to be Chit and Achit, a mixture of inert and consciousness, is stated. This is our Kumarila Bhatt is one who sent Adi Shankaracharya to Bandhan Mishra. Correct? Am I right? Gudham Chaitanya Mutprekshya Gaudham Chaitanya Mutprekshya Jadabodha Swarupatam Atmano Bruvate Bhattaha Chidutprekshothita Smritehe Chidutprekshothita Prasmritehe. The followers of the Kumarila Bhatt declare the Atma to be a combination of sentiency and inertness on the strength of logical deductions. They conclude Atma to be sentient by inference on the basis of the memory of the deep sleep experience. What are they saying? While the Prabhakaras and the Nyayikas assert that the Atma is Jada, inert, the followers of Kumarila Bhatt say that at the time of deep sleep, the Chaitanya is not fully manifest. It is as if covered. We also say that the Atma is, the Chaitanya is veiled by the veil of ignorance. We also say that. However, the presence of the Atma can be deduced by the logical deduction on coming out of the deep sleep. When the individual remembers, I did not know anything. I had such a good sleep. The one who knows alone can remember. Therefore, this experience of the deep sleep was enlivened by the consciousness. Therefore, according to the Bhatta school of thought, Atma has both qualities of Jadatva and Bodhatva, of inertness and consciousness. Inertness and consciousness. So when you are in deep sleep, you don't know you are sleeping. Only when you wake up. Where you wake up? In nothingness. You wake up in the body. You become conscious. In deep sleep you are unconscious. On waking up you are conscious. Only on becoming conscious you come to realize that you had a deep sleep. When you are in deep sleep you can't realize that you are sleeping. And therefore their conclusion is the Atma is both Jadatva and it was present there, but it cannot come to know that it was present in deep sleep. It can come to know only after waking up. Therefore, it is Jad and inert both at the same time. Bhatta's followers support their views by the following logic. Jado bhutva tada swapsam iti jadya smritistada vina jadyanubhutimna kathanchid upapadyate. I slept in deep sleep like an inert object. This memory of the deep sleep cannot be possible without the similar experience of inertness in deep sleep. Their conclusion. I slept. I was dead to the world. I could not even feel the body. I was inert to the unavailable to the consciousness. So they say this memory of the deep sleep cannot be possible without similar experience. Memory. So when you wake up, is it a memory out of which you are speaking that I had a good sleep? Is it? They are saying it is a memory. let's see, it is not possible to have a memory of such an experience of inertness unless there was also an element of consciousness at the same time to register the memory. The one which was experiencing the jadatva is the Chaitanya. So both are present in the deep sleep. The inertness is also present and the consciousness is also present. And therefore, when you wake up, you remember that the inertness was present. The consciousness is remembering that the inert body, which was not functioning, there was no memory, everything was still and silent. The consciousness is knowing that, but it knows that after it wakes up. And it's able to say that only because inertness was present in deep sleep. This is their logic. Therefore, Atma is both Jada and Chaitanya. This viewpoint is reiterated by the Bhatta's followers by citing of the Shruti. We will leave that. We'll read it, but we'll continue. Drashtur drashtera lopascha, drashtu drashtera lopascha, shrutas suptau tatastvayam, suptau tatastvayam, अप्रकाश प्रकाशाभ्याम अप्रकाश प्रकाशाभ्याम आत्मा खद्योतवद्युतः आत्मा खद्योतवद्युतः. In the deep sleep, the vision of the Atma is not lost, declare the scriptures. Therefore, the Atma illumines at times and does not illumine at other times, just like the glowworm. Now, this standpoint that Atma has both Jada and Chaitanya qualities is refuted by the Sankhya philosophy. What was Sankhya philosophy, you remember? One Atma per body. We also accept that initially because that is our experience. You are alive, you are alive, you are alive. We have to only to raise our angle of approach to the whole thing. So what does Sankhya philosophy, how does it refute it? Niranshasyo bhayatmatvam, niranshasyo bhayatmatvam, na kathanchit ghatishyate, na kathanchit ghatishyate, tenachid rupa evatmeti, tenachid rupa evatmeti, ahu sankhya vivekinaha, sankhya vivekinaha. The Atma being without parts or shape, there is no possibility of its being both inert and sentient. Full stop. Don't go into that angle of approach that Jadatva and Chaitanya both appears together. Cannot. See? Therefore, the Atma is pure consciousness alone. Thus the Sankhya philosophy declares, the Atma being without parts, it is impossible for both Jadatva and Chaitanatva to coexist in it. It is absurd as saying that someone is present as well as absent. Fully empty. Remember, fully empty. It sounds nice, but that is not the truth. No adjectives can be added to the truth. Truth is self-existing. That someone is present as well as absent, or that someone is living as well as dead. But we use these terms. He is a walking dead. He is a living dead. For what is that statement? That someone is alive but good for nothing. Just lying in the bed, doing nothing, or in a coma. We call them, no, living dead. Therefore, Atma is only Chaitanya Swarupa. Thus, the nature of the Atma has been defined by different schools of thoughts in different ways. Only Jadatva, both Jadatva and Chaitanatva, and only Chaitanatva. That means only Atma is inert. Another school says Atma is inert and conscious, and another says Atma is only conscious. The question now arises, if Atma is only conscious, is only consciousness, what happens to the inertness? After all, inertness is a definite experience. You experience yourself right now. See, these arguments are not taken just to confuse you. What is your experience right now? Are you inertness? Yes. Are you consciousness? Yes. You're confused. So are you the second school of thought here who accept that the Atma is inert and as well as Jadatva? That you are inert as well as conscious? Are you a mixture of inertness and consciousness? You know you are conscious and you accept yourself to be the body also. Till you don't realize, you will keep accepting it. Till you don't disidentify from the body, you will keep accepting it. And that experience of yours, some here, is taken up by certain schools to be the truth. Because they can't see beyond it. It requires a special, state of mind to go beyond that. It requires grace to go beyond that, to have a higher vision. The explanation given by the Sankhyas to this doubt is as follows. So now we have refuted all the philosophies, schools of thought. Now we have to come to Sankhya. We accept Sankhya also. But even Sankhya will be refuted by Vedanta. Jadyansha prakrute rupam, Jadyansha prakrute rupam, Vikari trigunam chaitata, Vikari trigunam chatata, Chito bhogapavargartham, Chito bhogapavargartham, Prakriti sa pravartate. The inert aspect is the Prakriti, which is subject to modifications, and with the three gunas, that Prakriti is responsible for providing enjoyment and liberation to the consciousness. This is the take of the Sankhya. This we accept initially. So what is this inert aspect? The inert aspect expresses as sattva, rajas, tamas, and it goes through its fluctuations. And what is that sattva, rajas, tamas? You can, for simpler purposes, you can take it as waking, dream, and deep sleep. This is continuously, the flux is going on. You got a body in the waking state, you got a subtle body in the dream state, and you got no body in the deep sleep state. And based on this only, all the philosophies have come. Because they are unable to see that they are the one who is the witness of the three states. They are unable to see that. And thus, all the philosophies come about. All the standpoints come about. Prakriti is that which has two qualities. It is vikari, constantly undergoing modifications, like raga, dvesha, dukkham, etc., birth, growth, disease, decay, death, etc., continuous change are all in the Prakriti or matter and not of the Atma. And second, this Prakriti is Trigunatmika. I just now told you that it has the three qualities of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Once these three qualities are associated with Prakriti, then Jnana, Ichcha and Jadatva aspects which were associated with the Atma by the earlier schools of thought now stand transferred to the Prakriti of the Sankhyas. So, in Sankhya we accept that all the qualities, all the attributes are of the Prakriti. Therefore, when Prakriti says, Shakti says, I gave the form to the Lord, absolutely right. When Sita says in Adhyatma Ramayana that Ramchandraji, the birth of Ramchandraji was because of me, his growth was because of me, all his abilities were because of me, he became a warrior because of me, he killed Ravana because if I was not there, he couldn't have killed Ravana. Because that Sita, she knows the Atmic principle is akarta. You understand what is akarta? Non-doer. Atma is the non-doer principle. all activity, all doing happens only in Prakriti. All change happens only in Prakriti. And this Prakriti is then superimposed on the Atma. And we think the Atma is doing it like the other fellows. Once these three qualities are associated with Prakriti, then Jnana, knowledge, Ichha, desire, and Jadatva, the inertness aspects which were associated with the Atma by the earlier schools of thought, are transferred to the Prakriti and not to the Atma. Then the purpose of the Prakriti is to provide for the enjoyment as well as for the moksha of the Chit or Chaitanya. What is the purpose? In a relative sense, what is the purpose of Prakriti? Without Prakriti, without form, is moksha, liberation possible? No. This is initial stages. The final stage, there is no moksha also. Correct? But right now, this journey, if you didn't have a body, can you come? Can you move ahead in the journey? You need a body to move ahead in the journey. So, having got this body, are we using this body as a means to get attached to the world, or are we using this body to facilitate us, the jiva, to recognize that he is of the nature of Paramatma? That's the only choice we have. Only choice. And that is possible only through the human birth. And therefore the scripture says that don't waste your human birth. You are born as a human, don't waste time in unwanted pursuits, in unwanted avenues. Only one, Atma Chintan, in spite of everything going on. In this way, the Sankhya separate the Jadatva from the Chaitanatva aspect. The former serving the latter, not only providing desires, likes, dislikes, etc. for the enjoyment of the conscious aspect of the Atma, but also providing the means for liberation. How can the Chidatma, which is totally asanga, unattached, have any connection with Prakriti? It seems to be improbable as mixing oil with water. So now, if you heard me some time ago, this who we are, it's a unholy communion between consciousness and matter. Seems to be that way at this moment. That I am body, inert body also, and I am consciousness also. But how can oil and water mix? How can that which is infinite in nature, self-effulgent in nature, all-knowing principle, which doesn't come and go, get married to someone or something, that is the body, which comes and goes, which is infinite, which is jada? How can this happen? This question never arises in our mind. And if we ask our parents or we ask any teacher in school, thappad padta tha. Because they don't know the answer. This doubt is answered. Asangaya chiter bandha, asangaya chiter bandha, mokshau bheda grahan matau, mokshau bheda grahan matau, bandha mukti vyavasthartham, purveshameva chidbhida. He says, the concept of bondage and liberation for the unattached consciousness is considered due to ignorance of the discrimination between them. So this idea of liberation itself is a concept. That I have to liberate, I have to surrender, I have to realize all. पागल हो जाओगे तुम सुन सुन के. This itself is a concept of whose? Of the ignorant people. The concept of bondage and liberation itself for the unattached consciousness is considered due to ignorance of the discrimination between them, because we have not separated them, and what is Viveka? To differentiate between changing and the unchanging, to differentiate between the permanent and the impermanent, to differentiate between consciousness and matter. Because we have not done the discrimination, therefore we feel we are a mixture of consciousness and matter. Therefore, because we have accepted we are both consciousness and body at the same time, therefore the idea that I am in bondage and I need liberation from this bondage, these two concepts come about. Think. By ourselves we'll never think like this. But it's so clear where the mistake is. Mistake is we have not differentiate between consciousness and matter. The Sankhya also accepted the Atma to be different from the body, as did the logicians earlier. Although the Chit Chaitanya is Asanga and it cannot come in contact with anything, the differences of bondage and liberation are accepted only under the influence of ignorance. This is due to lack of correct discrimination between Purusha and Prakriti. For a man of wisdom, there is no such differentiation as bondage and liberation. For him, these two concepts don't exist for a man of wisdom. We have to come to that point. And such a person is called as mad. Are you ready to be declared as mad? It is because of this concept of bondage and liberation that the Sankhyas say that the Jivatma is different from body to body, and try to understand the Atma with reference to the conditionings like the Nyayikas, etc. So this is their fallacy, this is the shortcoming in the Sankhya philosophy. That they consider the Atma to be the Jivatma to be one per body. And therefore, only through matter, only through inertness, they are able to show that there is consciousness. Because there is life, so there is consciousness. So if there is no life, there is no there is no Atma. This is the problem. If a mirror is reflecting, how should I say? If the mirror is reflecting light, so then there is light. We are not looking at light, we are looking at the mirror. It is reflecting light. If there is a medium which cannot reflect light, so there is no light. Wrong conclusion. If we do not accept different Purushas per body, we will have to accept that by the liberation of one, all will get liberated. But we know that Jivan Muktas like Vamadeva, etc. were liberated, but the world continues to be in bondage. To explain this, Sankhya's accept the differences among Purushas. So, and that is why you find in these fellows, those who are, so Sankhya philosophy, where they accept one Purusha per person, per body, they are the yogis. They are the yogis. So because they are so focused on the body, purification of the body, and the cleanliness of the body and everything, so they don't want you to touch their body. When you do namaskar, you can't touch some of them. They don't allow to touch. Why? Because your vibrations, your touch will contaminate their body. It will change their vibrations in the body. See? You must have come across or read about all this. So all these are shortcomings. That is, it cannot be the sign of a man of wisdom. But because they do lot of miracles and everything, so people run after them. In Vedantic philosophy, the Purusha Prakriti concept is maintained only up to this point. Therefore, thereafter, the Kshetrajna, the Purusha, is not one per body. The knower in all the fields is only one. How? The Jivatma, the reflected consciousness, it is appearing in every body, isn't it? In every pot. Who is reflecting in every pot? If there is a reflection of the sun in every pot, is it many suns or is it one sun which is reflecting in all the pots? This is where Sankhya philosophy is left behind and we transcend the pot. Now our attention is not on the pot in which the reflection is appearing, our attention is on the source of reflection. That is Vedanta now. So till here we accept Sankhya philosophy and we take a tangent. The Sankhya also quote the scriptures to support their point of view. This is how different viewpoints are sought to be established. This is stated with an example. We'll just take this. Okay. We'll just do this verse and conclude. Mahatav param avyaktamiti. No, again. Mahatav param avyaktam iti prakriti ruchyate shrutavasangata tadvada asango hityatah sfuta. So he says the cause of the mahat is avyakta. Mahat is the total. Another word for mahat is, tell? Another word for mahat is Brahmaji. Another word for Brahmaji is Hiranyagarbha. Understand? So if Hiranyagarbha is the womb, the seed, the life that is expressing through it is the Mahata, is the Brahma. Another, when we give it a form, we call it Brahmaji. So the cause of the Mahat is Avyakta. So what is Avyakta? Unmanifest. Unmanifest is the cause of totality. This scriptural statement also accepts the existence of Prakriti. So Prakriti expresses at two levels. One is manifest and the other is unmanifest. At the unmanifest level, from the unmanifest level, the first expression is Mahat. And that manifestation then has different levels of manifestation. The various jivas, etc. come out. Similarly, this Purusha is unattached statement also declares the unattached aspect of the Purusha. In this way, the Sankhya's claim that the Shruti supports their standpoint and that there is separate Atma per body, but we do not accept the separateness of Atma per body. Now the views about the Ishwaras are discussed. What is Ishwara? For the Ashtanga Yoga view is taken for the Ishwara, etc. And we'll go into that in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sit quietly for a moment. Hari Om.